Oh, that just went poopy. Son of a yeah. Oh, oh, we got problems. Not anymore. Hey, everybody, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, and thank God it's the Steven Baldwin Show returning for episode 6. You didn't see that market be thrown. Anyway, as always, we always start the show with today in history. Well, actually, I didn't find, looking today in history on this date, no disrespect to those past people and those historical events and figures, but I didn't really find anything that would maybe be too appealing to everybody. So I maybe would talk about something that actually is very current, and which is that earlier today I found out, thanks to my dad, that wide receiver Sidney Rice has officially announced his retirement today. Or he may have announced it yesterday, and the big news has just been announced worldwide today. And it's Steve.
Yeah, finally.
And Steve is already here instead of being segued in.
Well, you started the show late?
Yes, I did. But
wow, and here I was rushing to try to get over here. What are you doing, Cat? Get over here.
Well, I was saying with Sidney Rice, I found out that Sidney Rice, the reason for his retirement was due to not because of I'm not saying retirement concerns. How can you retire because of retirement concerns? That doesn't make any sense. He retired because of concussion concerns, which has been a big thing in physical and contact sports for a while now. I'd say since, unfortunately, definitely since in wrestling, especially since the Benoit situation, but especially in football, the whole concussion thing leading on with people like, unfortunately, like Junior Seau, other football players committing suicide due to having known concussions, and you name it. But Sidney Rice has announced retirement due to concussion issues and concerns. But hey, I found out he only played 7 years, and for a wide receiver, that's pretty sure in the NFL. You most time expect that from a running back, since the running back is known for taking the most abuse in football. But at least Sidney Rice can say that he retired a champion. He was on the Seattle Seahawks team that beat is kind of an understatement. They pretty much dominated Peyton Manning's Denver Broncos in this Super Bowl, which I'm still a little bit upset about, because I actually wanted that Super Bowl to be more competitive, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. So that's basically today in history on today, which most time is not the case. I'm sorry.
I have to kind of admit, today has been a very weird, but today has also been a very good day.
Yeah,
pretty much on a very small to minor note, I kind of was laughing at it this morning, but because my workplace holds a bingo deal, and I thought I've had a pretty good week. Well, apparently this good week humorously paid off because apparently, I won, the pot, shall you say, for, company bingo, and I used that with air quotes. It wasn't really much of a pot. It was only like $25, but I was like, okay, there's more stuff going to a special event that I'll probably announce during the Marvel 2K14 bullpen. But yeah, it's like yeah. See, I'm getting tongue tied again. Overall, though, Malcolm, it's been a pretty good day. It's just been a very mellow day, which you don't get too often. Not a lot of bad things happened.
Because as Ice Cube would say, today was a good day. Ooh, ah, ding, 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 ding. That's one of everybody's favorite Ice Cube songs. Isn't that right, Chris? Yes, right. Woo! Oh, since once again I didn't find any of the historical events of
Excuse me.
July 25th, to be that appealing, I also did some digging in some film and found out, some movies that came out 10 years ago in July. One of them being The Bourne Supremacy. I haven't watched The Bourne Supremacy as a whole, I think, since seeing it in the movie theater. But I remember watching the movie theater and I enjoyed, The Bourne Supremacy, which was the second out of the
The second out of like the three Bourne movies.
yeah, out of yeah, and in the books, out of
Yeah, it was the most authentic to the Robert Ludlum books in terms of what happens with Matt Damon's Jason Bourne. Because the one thing in those movies that I would have liked, but it didn't really necessarily deter from the movies was, Matt Damon having a real arch nemesis other than it being just the CIA. The whole him against the government thing. Because originally in the books, for anybody who's never read them, in the Bourne books, Bourne had an adversary, almost an equal to him, simply called the Jackal. But yeah, I love the Bourne movies, and I have to admit I'm kind of sad that Matt Damon's not doing any more, and that Jeremy Renner did the Bourne Legacy. But I'm kind of okay with that. There's some movies where you kind of have to step somebody aside. It's just like with James Bond. You can only, an actor can only do a role so many times before it gets kind of stale, and you got to switch it up.
Well, they haven't switched up John McClane.
That is true, and nor have they switched out Rocky Balboa.
Hey, yo, Adrian.
Or Rambo.
Yeah, or Rambo and John McClane.
Rambo, John. Yeah, we could go through the whole list.
Oh, also came out in 2004. A movie that I liked was I, Robot. I, Robot with Will Smith.
A movie that I have to admit was one of Will Smith's best performances. Hell, one of his best films, actually.
I'm telling you, I enjoyed I Robot movie, and that's why I kind of a little bit upset when some people this was really started with Will Smith trying to do sci-fi action. It doesn't work. But I'm like, I didn't mind iRobot. I thought iRobot had a pretty.
I kind of disagree with. I kind of gotta disagree with that because, to me, Will Smith actually got the tone right for the movie. Most actors, they try too hard to really enact the tone in the movie, but with Will Smith, his character, it felt pretty genuine. It felt like he was an actual person in that movie.
Yeah, and at first, we thought that he just had a kind of animosity or this, dislike for robots just because.
And that was something. And that was something about the film. That pivotal moment when you find out in the movie that he tried to save a little girl and the robot stopped him and the girl died. It's like to me, I actually liked that scene because it was a very well acted scene, I thought, and it really conveyed a lot of the emotion and depth to Smith's character.
Yeah, because no, and it is. I forgot how many number of stairs. Leave that kind of shit to yourself.
Though the one thing I'm sorry, I got always the one thing I always crack on the movie is the way the robots look, especially their faces. I'm just like, every time I looked at them, I thought this is like the off-breeded like relatives of the crash test dummies that they don't talk about.
It's also funny when oh god, what was the main robot's name?
Oh, when he slammed the table and he goes, "I did not murder him."
No, not
over the
that
top
part.
it was.
That was a good scene. No, I'm talking about at the end. Yeah, huh? Yeah, Sonny. There we go. When he shot one of the robot, I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, it sounds like you pouring water in a glass. Right through the head, because you saw one trying to approach. Will Smith kept saying no. I'm like, oh man. Oh yeah, and if you can hear Chris in the background, doing his hardest to plug it.
Hey, no man, look, honorable mention. Happy birthday to Sam Wilson, the Falcon. Turned 45 today. Congratulations. 45 years.
You were looking for that all day, huh?
That's right, and he's getting a big promotion too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a promotion that is both surprising but kind of fitting.
Yeah, he's really moving on up.
Just like the Jeffersons.
That's right.
But then of course, the cynical comment has to be made, okay, how long before this crap, doesn't stick?
Exactly.
But then, there's a part of me too that just looks at that and I'm like, nothing against like Sebastian, Sebastian Shaw, the actor playing Bucky. But yeah. I kind of want to see Anthony Mackie now trying to throw the shield because I think that'd be funny as hell.
Yeah, it may make for some good scenes too. Him in the air.
It's just that I have to admit I'm with Gail Simone on this. I think Marvel needs to start doing, since they're so big on the movies, they need to start doing like cinematic tie-in comics, especially for like individual characters.
Cinematic tie-ins. Cinematic.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies I think coming out this week, or a lot of okay movies. They're coming out. We got Scarlett Johansson's Lucy, which I'm kind of on the fence about. The concept's a little weird, little out there, little Stanley Kubrick-esque. And then of course you got The Rock's, version of Hercules. I'm excited about that, but I'm not sure if I'll go and see that or not because I have to do some budgeting. And then of course it goes without saying, which movie I'm excited about. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out, the 1st of August.
Yeah,
and then shortly after that, one final ride, we're gonna have the Expendables 3.
Yep. And if Kyle was here, I know one thing that would prevent him from watching it is Mel Gibson.
Man, people need to let that Mel Gibson go.
People can't let they can't let people have let Mike Tyson.
If anybody should be given any flack, it's Jane Fonda. Because she was completely against the Vietnam War. and she was the one harassing vets and all that stuff. And yet still, this woman sold workout equipment.
Well, but there's a lot of people against.
But then again, I don't think she was in her right mind to begin with, Malcolm. Because let's face it, she married Ted Turner. So what does that tell you? You
But
know, with his butt chin.
yeah, but wait a minute, Steve. There's a lot of people that are against the Vietnam War.
No, I mean she literally was going against like America and everything, quote unquote.
I guess I'm taking this back to America. Wait, what you doing that for? You American? Not by law. What do you mean not by law? It says on
You
your
know,
books.
no, you know what? Come to think of it, Jane Fonda was pretty much Lana before Lana came on WWE television.
Cause the USA.
I think somebody needs to time travel Zeb Coulter back to the Vietnam days.
Oh man. You mean dirty Dutch?
Yeah, Hobo Mario, as you and I jokingly call him.
How about Mario who walks funny like Chris always like to do the Zeb Culture walk? Oh yeah, the Last of Us movie has been officially announced.
That I'm just now hearing about this.
All the stuff coming out of Comic Con.
Yeah, just like
And isn't it ironic that I'm almost finished with the game too?
yeah, the Last of Us, big hit of last year to 2013, big hit, big hit.
And rightfully so. Playing through it, I haven't even fully finished it yet. It's one of the few games that I have to like actually take breaks between intervals because of how engaging the story is.
It's emotionally, yeah. It's a big emotional torque, as they say.
It is. It depends. It strikes a certain feeling with you because it's one of those games. It's not even just a game itself. It's one of those stories that you get very invested in Joel and Ellie, the two main characters, and not only their relationship, but it's more the two of them surviving against all odds. It's one of those edge of your seat kind of rides.
Edge of your seat, but not right. But you're not. But no, in no shape or form you're gonna be riding by the seat of your pants. Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I guess Chris is starting to watch. I forgot Chris. I forgot Chris is now starting to watch Teen Wolf people.
Hmm.
You know, the Teen Wolf that comes on MTV. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Not Music channel?
Yeah. That's what MTV has basically become. It has become.
And now MTV is gonna do a show about, a girl with Stockholm syndrome. I'm just like, what is this?
MTV is so a shell of itself. Yeah, I remember a couple years ago there was a period where they thought about, no lie, dropping the music out of the name. It's like good because you guys are no longer a music television station.
Yeah, it's just like the song said. Ironically, video has indeed killed the video star, or no, like video has killed the radio star.
The video killed the radio star.
But yeah, and you know what? You gotta give the guy props, even if he may retire from the business soon. But 25 years Weird Al has been doing music, and he still has his stuff together, unlike most musicians nowadays.
And speaking of Weird Al Yankovic, he finally made it to the number one of the Billboard charts.
And I bet you it was with Tacky, wasn't it?
I think it was his as a whole for his album.
Yeah, Mandatory Fun.
Yeah, I think it was as a whole.
It's like it's just like everybody was like, nah. It's like I can't believe that he made fun of Terrell's Happy song. I'm like, I like the parodies that he does because a lot of them are tasteful, even if some of the people that he gets permission from don't like him. You know, just ask Coolio, who apparently says that he's gonna shank him if he ever sees him.
The funny thing is, it's like, no, Michael Jackson. He liked the parodies. He found them funny.
It's like that's the thing with Weird Al. He always does these parodies, and he doesn't do it to be mean. He does it because they're funny. They're spoofs. And if you think about it, Weird Al pre-generated all of these like parody songwriters. For example, the country version of Weird Al. Cletus T. Judd. Or he also got it from his mentor, which was Dr. Demento. Like there's a lot of parody artists that came out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing that shocked me is he managed to parody a Queen song, which was another one, Rides the Bus.
I'm telling you, dude. I was talking with Chris this week, and I'm like, the only reason why I think Coolio is so upset that Will English parodied his song was because that's basically Coolio's biggest hit. So maybe Coolio, bro, that's my biggest hit.
Well, it was also the fact that his company didn't ask permission, and basically, Weird Al just did the parody he didn't know, and he even admitted, he goes, if I ever met Coolio, he goes, I would apologize for Amish Paradise. He goes, I was told to make the song. I didn't realize that I didn't get clearance.
Yeah.
So Weird Al was very sincere about, Amish Paradise and the unintentional parody. That was the studio that did that, not Weird Al.
Yeah, but don't tell Coolio that.
But yeah, it's like.
Cause if this.
But it's like you look at Weird Al, and it's like, honestly, it's like, yeah, most of his music videos now debut on Nerdist. Which I don't mind because Nerdist is it's a pretty fairly popular site. A lot of people access it on YouTube. So it kind of makes sense. He's always been one of those underground hit makers. But I will admit it's kind of funny. I love what somebody once said. It's like, man, after 25 years, Weird Al has all his, shit put together, but yet Lil Wayne still can't make a hit and make sense when he raps. I just looked at that. I'm like, see, I'm not the only one who thinks that Lil Wayne's face, is the bowl of accidents.
I don't feel like turning on
Get up.
But yeah, it's been a pretty progressive day. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in the last couple of weeks, and even this week, and what have you. A lot of weird things, a lot of weird stories and coincidences and stuff and what have you. I don't know. I'm trying to stall for time.
Yeah, there's been a lot of weird stuff, happening. You got you basically got seems to me that in LA, you're basically might have a boycott because I think everybody I think everybody knows. If you've been following this whole LA Clippers deal with Donald Sterling, the bigot, it's coming to the point where Doc Rivers, who is not only the coach of the Clippers but also I think president of the Clippers, he said if Donald Sterling stays as the owner, he's leaving. I think Chris Paul is going to say that he might start a boycott guys, you gotta get this Don Sterling away from this team. You just gotta do it.
But I agree with what somebody put as well. I think his girlfriend kind of baited him, bigot or not, by these tapes. It's a double-edged sword, Malcolm. On one hand, yeah, the guy's a bigot, but on the other hand, something tells me that his girlfriend or mistress, I think, might have baited him with a regular, serious conversation and just started recording him.
Probably so, but but many have said that it wasn't a surprise to them. It wasn't like something where she just brought it out for the first time. I believe, but oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Not Byron Scott. I think it maybe was Byron Scott. No, was it Byron Scott? I think so. That has that reported that Don Sterling is pretty much a racist. So when it finally came out, it was really no surprise to all the people that have been saying it for years. I've been trying to get him off, and finally it came out. So, why baited or not, hey, I guess everybody knows the proof.
Yeah, it's either which way, yeah, it proves to be a bad statement for both parties.
Nobody want that, and the Clippers in this postseason, they showed they were against them. Why you think they turned their warm up gear inside out? They turned them inside out, and a way of a little bit of rebel against him.
And you got a lot of people that want to buy the Clippers from him. Hell, even his ex-wife wants to buy the Clippers from him.
Yeah, and who feels that he has a case of dementia, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Listening to that phone call, I'm not surprised that he probably does have dementia, and he's probably not aware of what he's doing or saying.
Yeah, it's the same guy who tried to use and disgustingly tried to use Magic Johnson's mishaps as a smokescreen to his big mishap. Magic Johnson, he slept with all those women. How can people look at him as like, we're not talking about Magic Johnson's mishaps?
In a way, I looked at that, and when I heard him talk about that, all I kept thinking about, why does this sound like a cross between drunken Ric Flair and dazed and confused Hogan?
And next thing you know, he has AIDS. It's like, you dummy, Magic Johnson doesn't have AIDS. He has HIV. He has AIDS.
No, but I think the part that is like, but why are you upset? It's like, I'm a black woman. It's like, I'm mixed. It's like, you don't want me to be with my own race? He goes, honestly, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And I just looked at this guy, and he looks like one of those, like, I'm sorry, I gotta say it, he looks like one of those douchey old men that hangs out in galas all day. Either that or he's like, a director of, like, commercials, like, Sprite or, Dasani water or something.
You got, Now you got a dirty mouth. You got that dirty mouth. Like, what did she say that was dirty? But yeah, the point is that NBA said that they're gonna get this thing taken care of before the season starts. The summer league has already started. Soon preseason will be starting. They gotta take care of it, because I'm telling you, if the Clipper players had a choice, I bet you they will, in a heartbeat, with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, you name it, they would leave the Clippers. I bet that whole team would leave Our players will leave the team just to make their message clear that we're not going to be playing on a team that's owned by basically a racist bigot. And Charles Barkley has said, good old Chuck has even said that I would not be surprised that was to happen.
No, but you know what though? It's funny because hearing you talk about that, the one thing that went through my head when I heard about this is that I kept thinking, of course, of one of your favorites and mine. Harrison Ford with his disgruntled voice in the movie 42. It's like, it's like Donald Sterling, a racist white Jewish man.
A racist white man owning a Los Angeles-based NBA team. How disgusting is that? It's like, how disgusting is that? And now, was also, the last thing about, the NBA, this July will go down as, the returning homecoming of, one LeBron James going back to Cleveland.
I was laughing at half of the people that were going so over the top with that.
The king is coming home. Yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, but then LeBron, it's like, yeah, but LeBron's got his own meme too.
Oh, you still talking about the LeBron?
Yeah, the LeBron leg cramp deal. I'm sorry. When I heard the term, I'm like, what the hell's LeBroning? And I looked it up. I started laughing.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to die out that quick because it only happened one time. But man, when it did, man, it hit all media, like a meteor hitting, its target. I mean, it hit hard. I mean, they just seeing already LeBron and people, mocking, getting helped up by two friends and stuff. It's like, oh my God. It's like,
it was funny as hell.
but now, he's back home and, hey man, I'm all for a guy who wants to go back home. I'm all for that. Yeah, I know maybe a lot of Heat fans are gonna look at it as, oh, so you basically get your ass handed to you by the Spurs and now you leave. But well, don't forget he actually did beat the Spurs the year before. So, but the record still shows that the Heat did get spanked by the Spurs. So, and boy, they get spanked really hard. I mean,
okay, now you're just making it sound wrong.
No, they got demolished. I mean, all the games the Spurs won were by double digits. During the Heat one, it was only by I think 1 point or 2 points, and he only won one game that series. By the way, one. Now I know somebody would think, but wait a minute, didn't that happen in the Stanley Cup with the Rangers? Yeah, the Rangers did win one game, but the games that they lost, they fought like hell. They had to take like double overtime for the Kings to really beat them anytime they did. But with the Heat, man, double digits, man. Double digits is a killer. And they always will be in basketball. Always. Just ask when the Jazz lost to the Bulls, I think one time 55-105. And so Karl Malone, how do you explain getting blown out like that? Well, it just wasn't our day. Just wasn't your day. You got blown out almost by 50 points. It just wasn't your day. It just wasn't our day.
At least there wasn't like Shaq back in his younger days.
You mean Dr. Shaq?
Back when he, was on the early days of the Lakers.
Yeah, Shaq.
Freaking, or rather his early days at the Lakers, I should specify. And he thought that the refs and everybody was trying to screw him over.
Yeah, Shaq's early days with the
I
Lakers.
just still love that one when he's like talking to the guy. He goes, "Yeah, because the refs are too effing blind. Shaq, we're on live TV. I don't give a shit." And he had that cross-eyed look on his face, like Debo from Friday.
Yeah.
I'm like, you look stupid, Shaq.
Yeah, don't forget he's Dr. Shaq.
I
Yeah,
ain't calling him no doctor.
yeah, he does
He don't
got a
make no house calls.
Yeah, he does have a doctor. For people that don't know, Shaq does actually have a doctor. You know, he went back to college a couple of years ago and got his doctor. Man, I tell you, before I get on with my Monday hangout with my good friend Kevin, you know, prior to that, um, I think prior to that, there's been anytime I've been taking the bus in the morning to take my little cousin to camp. Lately, there's been this mother who's been getting on the bus, you know, with her little girl. But the first time we saw her, it was the fun because her little girl kept pulling the cord to ring the bell. And, and it's like, oh gosh, it's like I bet you this bus driver is getting completely upset. And it was the bus driver that it was funny I think the last time her little girl pulled the cord and the mom stop it. And then no, her big girl literally after pulling the cord, after getting told stop, looked at her and just started this bitter note. It's like, oh, we just start laughing.
Wait,
like,
what?
huh? The mother's little girl, the mother's little girl kept pulling the cord.
Yeah,
Basically,
but what happened after that? What, the bus driver stopped and her face slammed into a seat?
no, I think the fourth time, I think her baby girl did it like 3 or 4 times. The last time, the mother finally said stop, and since her baby girl was standing on her lap, the baby girl actually just looked down at and just started mauling on her nose. It's like it's like you don't tell that baby what to do, and she just It's like, oh, man. That's a bad sign.
So she was doing like Sting with the Rottweilers. She was like, ah.
Like the baby girl just looked down at her like, excuse me, It's like, oh. It's like she literally just looked down and without a second, she didn't even hesitate. Like, I'm gonna bite you. Like freaking Hannibal Lecter, like it was all in the nose. It's like,
You mean the
yes, like she rung the bell. Stop. Look down.
It's just, I can imagine it's just like Left 4 Dead. It's like, don't disturb the witch.
Yeah, don't
You
disturb
stop
the
that.
witch.
And then it's like, dun, 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 and then they start playing the music when you get attacked by the witch.
Yeah, it's like don't do it. Sometimes, like man, I was like that her little girl does not want to be told not to pull that cord, cause I'm telling you, she even
At least Caribbean Santa didn't actually come out and just go. I'm not playing them games.
I'm not playing the game. Man, I haven't seen Caribbean Santa in a while, and I haven't seen move away from the domain. But every time, the past times I did see him, he was actually on foot, and he still talked to himself as if he was angry at something. Just in the time, man, in the time. Like what the in the time, in the time, in the time. Yeah, but get it on to, no, yeah, that's later, Chris. But get it on to my Monday. Finally, Monday was hanging out with my friend Kevin. It's been a while since we hung out. And we went to go grab some pizza, and after, catching up, we're talking about the movies we've seen. we was going towards the supermarket, and while we were on the way, I actually happened to notice this when I was going to take my cousin to camp. I was going to her house to take her to camp. I saw all these big trucks, these lights, and they look like production stuff. And I'm thinking, it's like a newscast about to happen here. It was like the first I noticed it was like around 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, about 6:30 or so, give or take. Um, I saw when me and my friend Kevin saw it. He's like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "I don't know. I saw it earlier." He was like, "Let's go find out." So we see a cop, maybe a cop there blocking off, people, everybody and stuff. And he was already talking to this person. So we asked him, "Is there a movie being shot?" He was like, "Yeah, the movie's called Woman Fang." Me and Kevin looked at each other. Woman Fang? Yeah, Woman Fang, as in, Fang. And he's like, Fang, Fang. And I'm like, okay. They say, no, this black dude just come out of nowhere. I guess he was part of the production team, just come out of nowhere. He just like, me and Kevin's like, are like right here. Next thing you know, he just comes behind us out of nowhere. Actually, it's about the sandwiches. Like, what the what the hell? It's actually this actually we're actually shooting a commercial about sandwiches. Like, just come out of nowhere. It's what the? He's like, nah, just joking. He's like, nah, I'm just joking. Actually, we're shooting a movie, scene for a movie called Family Fang. Next, here comes the cop. Wait. What did you just say? Family Fang. Well, I just had 3 people tell me that it was Woman Fang. Well, that's just showing that we're just catching up ourselves. It's like, now, and so he was laying out the scene, and cause it was at my local savings bank, and so quite naturally it was like a bank scene, a bank robbery scene, and he said the scene took place in the 70s, and basically the main character is, as a kid, basically trying to pull off a bank robbery, but it's kind of like a practical joke. Like, he's only trying to get, I think, lollipops, trying to get money for lollipops, and when I guess when the cops wrestles the gun away from, but the gun goes off and shoots the kid's mother. And I'm like, ooh. And then we kind of found that the kid is gonna when he grows older in the movie, gonna be played by Christopher Walken. So we know Christopher Walken was in the film. And so while me and Kat went on our way, after going to Rite Aid to pick up some juices, we sat by the bench and we started talking, kind of, as Mick Foley would say, reminisce, reminisce about past stuff in high school and stuff. And next thing you know, I don't know what. Here comes this guy, this Caribbean guy with a red shirt, and man, he approached me looking all creepy, man. I'm sitting next to him. Here comes this guy. No, no. Bedroom. Accent, this didn't sound right. That black on black pride. I'm like, black on black pride. It's like black on black pride. Next thing I'm like, that's what it's all about. I'm like, yeah. Next thing you know, is that how it is? And I'm thinking, I'm like, this guy trying to start. I'm thinking, I just finished this Snapple. I got a Snapple bomb. I'm thinking, let me crack you over the head with this Snapple bomb. When somebody says, is that how it is? It sounds like, okay, you trying to start a fight or something. Is that how it is? They said, no. I just said, peace. All right, bitch, that's what it's all about. They just walked out. Yeah. I'm like,
Oh my God, you got the Bob Marley guy.
Yeah, sure, but then that black on black pride. I'm black on black pride. That don't sound right. That sounds like an adult film industry movie. Black on black pride. Next thing you know, but then I think it was maybe before that. Yeah. Actually, it was. This happened before that crazy, that weird Caribbean guy approached us, or Brosi approached me because he didn't look at Kevin. He just staring at me with this crazy eye. Like, come on now. But there was this. I guess there was this family. I guess it was the mother and a couple of sisters. I guess the old sister was on her bike, and she ran past the light. She was able to cross you before, so she left her sister or mother just standing there, and you just hearing the older sister. If it was the older sister, just said, "It was red light. It was red light. It was red light." And they know, I just yelled out, "It was yellow. It was yellow. It was actually yellow light." There comes Kevin. It was black. It was black light. And it's like if she, it was like we just had to do that. It's like, cause she just yelled, "It was red light." It's like, are you trying to get confirmation? It was red light. It was red light. It was yellow. Basically doing a little bit of Eddie Murphy from Bayless Cop 2 with Billy and Taggart. I was like, it's green, it's red, it's green, it's red. All right, it was red. It was yellow. Man, but man, that weird Caribbean guy, just how he approached me, because since I'm sitting down, that's why I even look more creepy. I'm sitting down, and he comes. Measure that black on black pride. Yeah, black on black. Is that how it is? Is that how it is? Man, I'm just finished the Snapple, man. Don't let me, ring your bell with this, man. I'm not afraid to use it. I just had to do. Peace. Yeah, that's it,
man. What the fuck?
So, what the hell is wrong with you?
Potheads.
Maybe so. Just like, oh, damn. And then, when I was on the train, and Steve would know this because he commented on her. Yeah, no, I wasn't on the train. I was on the bus, but I just mentioned the train.
Oh my God!
But I actually just mentioned the train in the comment. But I was on the bus, me and Kyle on the bus, take her in the camp, and I decided to maybe close my eyes, maybe get a little nap. Next thing you know, I'm like, all right. Next thing you know, I get a whiff of fish. I'm like, whoa, and that just woke me like, what the hell? And I look around. I don't see any fish. I'm like, man, that's a bad sign. Somebody as a Christian reeks with unawesomeness. Somebody's reeking right now. And that's why I put on Facebook, man. It's a bad sign when you're either on the train or bus and you smell fish, but when you look around, there's no fish to be found. It's like, somebody didn't wash. There comes Steve doing his best ultimate work.
Yeah, doing the ultimate war impression. It's like, the homeless people that walk the streets every day, they do not pay their shower.
It's like, oh no.
And then I love Malcolm's response to that afterwards on Facebook. You had to do a Warrior reference, didn't you?
Yeah, you just had to do a Warrior reference. But Steve, you've been telling me about this Fry's story.
The what? Oh yeah, I have a couple of stories from work. God damn it, stupid lighting! I can never get the lighting in my room right. But no, it's like, yeah, there was a couple of stories. One of my coworkers, his name is Doug. He actually had 3 stories happen to him all yesterday, all within a span of like a couple of hours, or at least like what he was telling. The first one that I'm actually going to tell is actually from our pharmacy. Apparently, as I call it, pharmacy rat race, apparently had these 3 drug addicts or crackheads try to get the same prescription. Because the first time, there's a guy coming in, and he's looking all pale and Weasley looking. You know, he looked like he hadn't washed. You know, he looked like something out of like The Hills Have Eyes, apparently. You know, that stereotypical hillbilly mentality. And they're like, oh, it's like, sir, do you got any ID and stuff? And he goes, no, he goes, I forgot to bring my ID. You know, I've been bedridden. You know, I've been sick. You know, and I was pronounced with cancer. I'm just like, see, right there, that's the sign of a crackhead when they start making 3 excuses, one more ridiculous on top of the other.
Yeah, it's like you're thinking, wait a minute, if you have
No. There's more to this story because it gets very intriguing and entertaining very quick. Then a woman comes in claiming to be his sister, that the prescription is for her, but the prescription is for a dude. She didn't have any ID. So then she's on the phone with Norman, who's one of our chief pharmacists.
Norman.
This is, of course, you know, one of our technicians. You know, she was sitting there talking with him. He goes, well, if they don't have any ID or anything, don't give them the prescription. And then a third person comes in, claiming to be the son or daughter or whatever of this person. I was only told this story, so I couldn't get confirmation. But then that same person comes in, third person comes in, has no ID or anything. I'm like, man, 3 people. I'm like, man, drug addicts are really getting desperate. Then they get the phone call from the second person, the woman, still trying to get the prescription. You know, talking about the first guy going, yeah, he's my husband, and da-da-da-da-da. And then finally Norman just goes, if they don't have any ID, if they don't have anything, they better come in with a social security card, a urine sample, and a cop.
Oh.
He goes, do not give them that prescription. If they come in here with a social security ID, then give them the prescription. And the funny part is, they never came back, and the prescription was still sitting there. But it's and she goes, yeah. She goes, within a matter of like 2 hours, had 3 people trying to get the same prescription, and come to find out that the medication that all 3 of them were trying to get is actually something that can be crushed up and snorted.
Oh.
So I'm like, you're basically trying to get pills to use for like drug or to like make meth or something like that. I don't remember how she put it, but I'm just like, I'm shaking my head. I'm like, how are you going to be a crackhead and not follow crackhead protocol? Make sure you got ID, a clean urine sample, you know, a parole officer recommendation, you know, all this stuff. I'm just like, man, the crackheads in my town are dumb as hell.
Yeah, and you told me that you found out that that your city is like the
apparently the town that I work in, which is, you know, simply named Westminster. Yeah, I looked in there because I had one of the female technicians, you know, one of the trainees. She's actually a college girl. She goes, well, Westminster in Maryland is apparently it's the heroin capital of the United States. And I started laughing. I'm like, no way. But I wanted to know for sure. I made like a homework assignment. I looked in the Urban Dictionary under Westminster. It said exactly that. Heroin capital of the country. I just stood there with my jaw agape, Malcolm, like, holy shit.
It's true. It's like Dexter. It's true.
I just stood there. I'm like, I went back and I told him, and she goes, you're not making me feel better. I'm like, I'm not trying to make you feel better. I'm warning you. You know, it's like, but then, you know, getting to Doug's stories, because these are actually much more lighthearted and entertaining. The first one is very simple, but also kind of humorous, because it involves a chronically confused old lady. So apparently, as is usually the case at my job, you know, customers leave their groceries on accident. So I happened to stumble across, you know, a box of Sunkist that was laying in a cart. You know, took it out there, gave it to the front desk, find out that an old lady had missed it from earlier this morning. So she was calling it up Doug is sitting there letting her know that the Sunkist is right there at the desk. She can just come with her receipt, pick it up. And he said, I swear to God, he goes, in the middle of the conversation, she's like, yeah, she goes, I missed that Sunkist. Oh, look, a groundhog.
What?
No, and then she proceeds to go, oh, he must be coming in for supper, ma'am, about the Sunkist. I bet he's as big as you. It's like, ma'am, and he goes, they'll eat you out of house and home if you're not careful. And Doug's just like, that was the most randomest fucking part of that entire conversation.
That's what they call I found it's called a non sequitur.
Yeah, it's just like, he's like, yeah, she goes, just in the middle of there, she goes, she was looking out towards the road of her house, I guess, and she was just like, hey, look, a groundhog.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's just like, and he said, but I couldn't talk shit about her. He goes, because she sounded like she was 70 or 80 years old. I was like, okay. Then the second story, probably the most dirtiest part of the story, but also the funniest,
Dirty.
and the most over the top and exaggerated. They were thinking, Doug and a couple of other, guys at the workplace thought about going to a strip club. I'm like, okay, nothing wrong with that, to each their own. But they were going on a review site similar that you would for like Expedia or like hotel resort siting stuff, looking at entertainment areas, and they said that they had like this 0-starred review, like this really bad review. And hearing the review, if the person reviewing it had the choice of giving like negative stars, he probably would have chosen a 3 or a 4. Because this review went all over the place, as followed in like 5-paragraph form. But to summarize that whole entire 5-paragraph deal, he was talking about how don't go to this bar. The drinks at the bar overpriced. The girls are ugly. My buddy went to go get a lap dance and found out that he got a lap dance from half a woman. They had a girl that was 9 months pregnant. Working the runway. The staff were drunk as shit. They didn't even check IDs, and a 16-year-old got in. And I'm just sitting there as I'm listening to this, Malcolm. I'm thinking, okay, half of this stuff this guy's got to be making up. He goes, you want to talk about the living embodied? It's like it was really like listening to Shaq do an interview. He goes, this was the worst place ever. It's like I don't even think half of the girls were really girls. It's like frickin' the drinks were overpriced, the lap dances were overpriced. It was like, you want to talk about a place that's hell, that place is hell. It's like, don't go to this place, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, the drink part, I could understand. I'm like, the tranny giving his buddy a lap dance, okay, you should have price checked that. But I'm just like, it's just like the girls are fugly, the environment is still, and no, here's the best part of this review. And this is the part that had me laughing, because it had nothing to do with the club, the dancers, anything. Other than, talking about the girls can't dance or whatever. But he goes, yeah, the bathrooms were dirty. I'm like, okay, whatever. He goes, and then the most disgusting part of that review, but also, ironically, but also the fact that, but he just made the comment, he goes, yeah, the urinals didn't have any cakes, and, like there were dead roaches in there. I'm just like, I'm like, okay, the dead roaches part, that's disgusting, but I'm like, you're complaining because they had no urinal cakes over the urinals? Like, who complains about that? I'm like, okay, now this dude is just complaining about this strip club just to complain about it.
Yeah, now he's just nitpicking.
Yeah, now he's just nitpicking, but it was funny as hell, and Doug even showed me it. It's just like 5 paragraphs of this guy complaining about this strip club and how bad it was and how it was an abomination. I'm just like, so stupid. But the best one, though, the Pass the Fry story.
No.
Because most of my coworkers go to rock concerts. They go to all these concerts and stuff. And Doug was unfortunately to be added as a +1 to a buddy's, grunge concert or whatever. And they had this dude, McDonald's, Wendy's, I don't know, but all I know is that he had a pack of fries with him. And he laid the fries down as he was eating them and doing mosh pitting and stuff. And the guy's like, "Hey, whose fries are these? Whose fries are these? Dude, do you realize that where you put these fries at? You put them on my side. So guess what? You're going to have to share these things now, bitch." And I'm like, okay. And then the lead singer's like, "You know what? Come on here. You get to thrash at the devil." And security was trying to pull him onto the stage. And this guy must have been scared about protecting his fries, because Doug described it as this guy had a kung fu death grip, like a G.I. Joe action figure on the fries. And they had one security guy, I guess he was like the leader or whatever. He's like, "Sir, let go of the fries. Sir, let go of the fries. Sir, put the fries down." And then right about the 10th time, he's like, "Sir, pass the fries along." The 11th time is, "Sir, take a fry and pass it down." Then by the 12th time, he got so pissed that he smacked the fries out of the guy's hand. It hit him in the face. And Doug said that his face is just like this, Malcolm. He was just like, he looked like he got pepper sprayed. He was like,
flies flying over his face, everything.
Yeah, like fries hit him in the eye and stuff. And Doug was like, he literally said that then the security guard looked like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. He looked like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat because he just yanked the dude up and almost like knocked all the other guards on their asses. And I told Doug, I said, that would have been perfect if he actually just like gritted through his teeth, just yelled, "Get up here!"
Get up here. Oh, I do Austin. Oh, get your ass up.
But I just had to laugh at the 12th time he got so pissed he smacked the fries out of the guy's hand and hit him all in the face and into the crowd.
Made a salt flew up in his eye. Salt. Yeah. The security guy did an unintentional Mr. Fuji. Salt.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just like in the Batman animated series. Hot sauce.
Oh. I just found that funny. It's like the guy wouldn't let go of the fries.
It's like of all the things you're worried about, funny, the only thing you're worried about is fries.
Yeah, and it's like, and Doug was like, "Yeah, he had it in like the regular fry container." He goes, "I don't even know how they let him take that into the event." But yeah, guy just walked in with like a thing of fries. Just like banging and stuff, and I had to laugh at that. It's like, "Sir, let go of the fries. Sir, put the fries down. Sir, we cannot get you onto the stage if you don't let go of the fries." And it's like, yeah, the 10th time, it's like, "Sir, pass the fries along."
Pop.
Yeah, it's just like the 12th time, he's like, yeah.
My eyes.
Yeah, just sitting there like, ah.
They burn. It's just like when Wolverine got snow thrown in his eyes. Ah, my eyes. It's like Wolverine was just snow. Ah, my eyes.
I just died. Yeah, there was. Yeah, let's see. There was that, and let's see what else happened today. That I was trying to think what else happened. The only thing that would have been a great story, but unfortunately they didn't set up the display. But I told them, I said in my mind it would have been a great fantasy, is if had a dude with dreads try to mockingly dunk on like the Coke display and he just fell and face planted. I'm like that would have made my day, but nobody ever tries to dunk on that because they're stupid. Oh yeah, actually no. There was actually one story lunch-wise that I need to actually talk about because it's such an act of stupidity that it bears repeating. Okay, so it's like me, our florist and a couple of other people. We have a little cafe in my store, in my workplace. So we always meet there, and we hang out for lunch. Then here comes these three people. This Selena Gomez look-alike, this guy who looked like Sam Kinison, and then this guy, as I call him, Errol Flynn Jr., looked like he belonged in like old pulp cereals.
Oh.
And then they take one of the tables, they put it all together right in the center, almost like a 5-shaped domino. And they're just sitting there, they're eating their sandwiches, and the Sam Kinison-looking guy is going off on all these conspiracy theories and these crazy deals, and I just looked at Kim, with my, Kim, our florist, with my hand over my face like this, and I'm just like, I think we should move. Because this dude was talking real crazy.
I think we should move.
Like, he was talking about, he goes, did you know that the government tried to cover up drone research by, trying to do, like, an excess order on, like, ketchup packets? I'm like, what the hell does drone costs and ketchup packets have to do with each other?
A weird conspiracy.
Oh, no, one of these guys. No, but the best part of this, we have a little, like, big-ass, like, rack now that's full of, like, like peppers and, cucumbers and all kinds of stuff like that. This dude walks over, grabs a thing of, like, pickled cucumber peppers or whatever, places it down on the table, doesn't even pay for it. He paid for it after the fact, but literally right in front of us, picks this jar up, Malcolm, places it on the cafe table, opens it up, and starts forking the things out of the container, and we're just looking at this like, you do realize that you're going to have to pay for that at the end, right? But I just looked at that. I looked at Kim, and we couldn't look each other in the eye, Malcolm. We were just like, are we really seeing this? Did this dude just walk over, grab a jar, break the seal, open it up, and start eating out of it? And he didn't even frickin' pay for it?
I'm sorry, man. Sometimes people be doing that with a bag of chips.
Oh no, we had the sample lady, as we call her, because apparently anybody that has tried to shoplift from the store and whatnot, what have you, apparently now gets nicknames. But yeah, we got this old lady who apparently on days that I haven't worked, apparently she's come in, and she was right near the soup samplers. Well, there wasn't any sample deals, so she got a regular cup of like soup and stuff, and she started filling it up to the top and was drinking it as she was shopping. And finally, one of the managers on duty is like, hey, you're going to have to pay for that, right, since you got a regular cup? And the woman's like, but you had no sample deals. It's like, ma'am, I understand that. I apologize, but you got a regular cup. You got to pay for that. And sure enough, she did pay for it. And she goes, yeah, she paid for it this time. And the minute I heard that, I'm like, oh, so she's done this before. Yeah, they said that she was just like looming over the soup counter and just like trying. I'm like, what was she doing? Was she like double dunking underneath like all the soup and stuff, trying to like drain the pots without paying for them? I'm like, you dummy.
So you trying to tell me this lady, because she didn't see any samples out, made samples for herself?
Basically, yeah, and thought that she could get away with it. I thought, man, that reminds me of, like last year or so, back when we had another main manager. Lady tried to take a giant box of fried chicken and tried to go out the door with them, and then got C-blocked by the manager. Like, and he didn't just step in, no. He stepped in like a bouncer at a nightclub. He was just like, leather jacket and everything. Looked like a biker with nerd glasses. He looks at that and he goes, ma'am, do you got a receipt for that? And she goes, I can go to the car if I get one. Just let me take it. It's like, ma'am, if you don't have a receipt, I got to hold on to that. But and then come to find out, somebody else went outside, and come to find out I went outside. Come to find out that apparently I broke up a platter stealing ring. Apparently, this woman was going to stores, ordering these platters, and then getting the hell out of Dodge without paying for them. And the cops basically put out like an APB and stuff for her on her van. But yeah, she had over like $400 and $500 worth of like plattered goods, like fruit and meats and cheeses and fried chicken and pizzas and I think there was like a giant freaking whole sheet like black chocolate like wedding cake or something. I'm just like all this, and it's like it was platters on top of platters of like food. I'm just like, and all I kept thinking about was, oh yeah, she stole from Walmart, she stole from Giant. I'm like, first off, she shouldn't even got the shit from the first store. So then that started to make me wonder. I'm like, this woman stole probably about 50 or $60, shall we say, of platter food from the first store.
Yeah,
and she went to another store. She basically was shoplifting stuff that was like worth $50 to $60. And it's just like, how do you let somebody get away with that?
That reminds me of, man, there'd be a store called Dragon's Den. Man, the security was so bad. Yeah, basically, it was so bad that basically the security was nowhere to be found. Man, and the fact that you can just take the bags, take bags for yourself. That was like, why would you do that? It's not like if you had a supermarket where if you're picking out fruit, you got the plastic bags where you can put the fruit. No, it's to the point where you actually would see people take a Dragon's Den bag, which were this thick yellow, so you couldn't see what was inside. Take the bag, put whatever they wanted in the bag. They act, hey, can I see that game? They wait for the person to turn away, drop in the bag, and walk out the door. It's like, oh.
No, speaking of security, I was listening to a guy who worked at another store, got transferred, and I had to laugh at this because he's a guy that used to work back in our meat department. So he got transferred to another meat department, like at one of our subsidiary stores. This dude then said, yeah, they got a standing security guard that's right by customer service, and somebody still stole stuff from the health and beauty aisle right in front of them. And point blank, this is what the security guard actually said. I'm not even lying about this. He turned to the guy after he witnessed him, and he's like, what should I do? He goes, what should you do? You're the security guard. Call the cops.
He sounds like the cops from Demolition Man when they apprehended.
Exactly. That's all I kept thinking about. I'm like, oh my god, he's like the cops from Demolition Man. It's like, what should I do? What should you do? You're the rent-a-cop. You called the cops.
Yeah, it's just like,
matter of fact, right now you are the cops. And they're like, and then come to find out, oh yeah, even though he's a stand-in security guard, he's not given no mace, no flashlight, no nothing. It's like this dude watches people steal stuff from the store and then calls the cops, the real cops, quote unquote, to then arrest the shoplifter. I'm like, then what's the point of having him? It's like, if you're not giving this dude mace at least, then why the hell are you hiring him to just like stand around and look around on the night shift? And then come to find out that's all it is. Yeah, it's like this dude wanders around the store, and all I'm thinking about, so basically he's Ben Stiller at night at the museum, basically.
Since you say wanders, kind of reminds me of the ridiculous polar bear from Ice Climbers that comes in Super Smash Bros. Just with the sunglasses and the pink bikini bottom and just walks around. Like, Hell, that
I,
board
mean,
looking.
but I just love that. He saw the guy stealing, and he was trying to take action. He's like, dude, you saw that guy steal something. He's like, yeah, well, what should I do? It's like, what should you do?
Dude.
Call the cops.
Like what the hell? Like what the hell is wrong with you?
Exactly. It's like the dude did, and then, no, and then what I love. Here's what I love afterwards. He goes, then he goes, he's just like, dude, just go get the license plate. And then he said, apparently this, and then he said this guy was stumbling, and he said he was a heavy set guy, so he couldn't move very well. He said he was running/rolling to try to get the license plate number as they were peeling out of the parking lot. And all I'm thinking about is, oh my God.
Wait a minute. He was rolling just to get the license plate. I'm like, ugh.
No, I say that, because he was a heavy set guy, but it's just like he was running to try to get the license plate number and he barely got it in time. But then afterwards, here's what I love too. He goes, then a couple of hours later, the same shoplifters came back. He got a much clearer license plate number, and then they arrested him. I'm like, how do you come to the same store that you just stole from, made a successful steal, come back and try to steal again using the same car? Are you really that dense and dumb?
They're either pretty that dense and dumb.
No, but it's not nearly as dense and dumb as that, black couple that tried to start a fight in the store, and then next thing I know, I'm walking up. Next thing I know, I see managers and staff members and people with feather dusters, brooms, all kinds of stuff, just chasing these two, this black guy and this black woman out of here. I'm like, I looked at that for a second there. I'm like, yo, is this a KKK parade? Then come to find out, no, they were trying to fight people in the store. Especially the woman. The woman was threatening to beat the dude's ass and stuff, and they were trying to start a fight just so that way they could try to be thrown out the store, because apparently they were actually shoplifting, so they were trying to conveniently get themselves thrown out of the store so that way they wouldn't draw any attention to themselves. The funny part is they failed, ran across the street, had people trying to almost follow them across the street. And then, almost on cue, the cops literally blockade them so they can't go backwards, they can't go forwards. I'm like, oh my God! It's like one of those badly planned comedic heist movies, come to life. It's like they get halfway across the street, they get to PetSmart. They are about to go into PetSmart. Next thing you know, a cop car almost runs them over and just blocks them. They try to go the other way. Another cop car blocks them, so they got fenced in, and then heard a fight go on, and even from a distance, I could see this. I could, and when I saw this, I couldn't breathe. We were all laughing. The cops didn't just get him, but the woman threatened to beat the cop's ass, and even while she was handcuffed, she went to go to try to, Sindel in Mortal Kombat, try to use her weave to attack one of the cops, and the cop just shot her with the taser, and her ass just went down like a beached whale that'd been shot with a harpoon. I was like, ah.
So you telling me that, ironically, by trying not to get attention, they gained more attention than they bargained for?
Exactly, and then they tried to fight their way out, which didn't really work when you got an officer with a taser and mace.
You know, see how reminds me of the guy who got shot at a taser on World's Dumbest. Yeah.
Exactly. This one, no, it's just that I found that funny. The woman tried to attack the cop with her weave like she was Sindel in Mortal Kombat, and then she ended up getting tasered.
That's right.
I was like, and then I'm trying to think of the other incident that happened in the store, either a couple of months ago or from last year, while we're thinking of I'm thinking of old work stories. But man, it's it's like you had all these weird. It's just the people that come in and shop at my store. Truly, I think that people are migrating from Walmart to my store because like had a freaking I've seen like a freaking Amazon and inappropriately dressed like Club and Granny. I was like, I've seen stuff that I literally wish I could record just to like actually prove to people that I don't fabricate these stories. Because I it's just like when all the toilets in my store overflowed, I couldn't make that up. I'm like, went in there, oh yeah, the middle stall in the women's bathroom, is clogged up. Okay. Next thing I know, all the men's room toilets are clogged up. And I'm trying to like plunge one. I'm like, why is the water rising? Next thing I know, I start hearing, and I start seeing brown and water, and I'm like, hold on a second. And just to tempt fate, because I figured I was gonna have to mop up a big mess, I flushed the toilet. The other toilet and that toilet simultaneously overflow. Then I start hearing women screaming and running out of the bathroom. All 5 toilets had overflowed simultaneously. The septic tank had backed up for all of them. So it's like brown water was everywhere, and I mean literally everywhere.
So basically, it looked like a Florida swamp.
Essentially, yeah, it looked like I was trudging through a swamp. And ironically, when I went to the middle stall in the men's room and I finally got that thing unclogged, all the water went down. It didn't just pop. All of them I heard pop simultaneously, and all of them unclogged at the exact same moment, almost like a frickin' symphony. I'm just like, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I wish I had a film crew with me, because like this could be something that could be put on like Discovery or something, like almost like Ghost Adventures, or like Billy the Exterminator. Just one of those like reality shows that it's so obscenely hilarious that you can't believe that it's actually real. Like one of those kinds of shows.
I'm telling you, that's why Kyle said that he would like to work where you are just to see these things in person.
Unfortunately, and it's nothing compared to one of the guys that I work with tell me a story about how he was cleaning the bathroom, he was talking with a coworker. And just that, I still feel bad for him. He's scarred for life because that old man, that 90-year-old man. Just, I still laugh at that, but part of me feels bad for him. Just that old man comes into the restroom, drops his pants in front of everybody, and just asks where the sugar is. If I had been there, I told him, I said, if I had been there, I'm sorry, I'd have pushed that old man down and I would have ran out that bathroom. Because when somebody drops their pants down and they ask where the sugar is, I don't care if it's dementia or not, you don't want to be near that old man.
No. And just like, hey, hold the phone.
Oh, no. Well, what was the other one, Malcolm? It's like, hey, how long should we wait for Richard? We wait until we wait.
Yeah. Oh man, that was freaking hilarious. You know what, man? Yeah, that morning, once again, leaving my house to go take a little cousin to the camp, and man, here come. I'm seeing these guys. They're just like talking. So they're by like the truck. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name who they were talking about. Let me see if I can find it through my update. Oh man, went through my post because man, that was something funny. Let me see.
That.
Come on.
No, but apparently now most of my coworkers are now. Apparently, I realized I'm a bad influence on my coworkers because apparently now most of my coworkers are now quoting me because apparently one of our Coke guys, our Coke vendors, is dumb as a box of rocks. Like, this guy could get lost in a forest even with the GPS.
What the?
But I looked at that, and I just looked at him casually. I just looked at my coworkers casually, the ones that were sitting in the cafe, and I'm like, yeah, the wheel is going, but the hamster's dead. And now everybody's starting to quote me from that.
Okay. Here you go. I found it. Yep. Yeah. How long we gonna wait for Eddie? We'll wait until we'll wait. Well, I'm not waiting. It's like we'll wait until we'll wait. It's like, dude, you went to school, right? You hear how bad that sounds? We'll wait until we'll wait. Like, and I just love, I'm not waiting. Like, no. It's like, no. At least it's not like
the things you and I encounter on a daily basis.
That's what I'm saying. It's just so funny, just like that guy when I was going through, walking the aisle in the supermarket. Man, I'm gonna get myself something to effing eat. Like, what the hell you outbursting that for? Man, I'll get something to effing eat. Like, you're in a supermarket. You're acting angry. Like, man, nobody gave me money to get something to eat. Man, I'm gonna get something to eat. Like, like you want to say, I'm gonna get something to eat myself. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? But at least it's not as bad as, James Storm, a week ago when he was assaulting freaking Sonata, just trying to sound intimidating, but he just sounded funny while yelling, "Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! How'd you fight back?" It's like, it's Storm. Hey, Storm, you gonna gargle some Listerine? Fight back! Fight back! And make matters worse, we're going to find out that all this will lead to is basically I guess you call a swerve. Because yes, people, on this last Impact, when the Great Muta returned, they all found out that, can't believe it, but Sonata turned his back on his master. Say you don't leave, so you don't turn on a Great Muta for some hit in James Storm. That doesn't sound right. That's like Leonardo Donatello and leaving Shredder for I thought that Splinter for freaking John Foxworthy. That doesn't make sense. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, then again, TNA is kind of going downhill with their product anyhow.
And actually, that was maybe the only thing that I had to really, add a little bit of issue. Because lately, I'm not going to lie, TNA, why is nothing spectacular. Ever since Kurt Angle has come as, the executive, I'm not going to lie, the past shows ever since Kurt Angle has been the executive has been pretty much decent. I'm not gonna lie, they've been pretty decent ever since Kurt Angle has come on as the executive. What is he? What is his position, Chris? Kurt Angle, he's executive.
Talent relations.
Yeah, wrestling talent. Yes. So ever since then. And you even having Mike Tenay even saying on commentary, ever since Kurt Angle has been executive, the in-ring action has been great. It's like, wow, Mike, good you saying that, but I bet you once Sanjay Dutt comes back, gotta thank Kurt Angle for bringing in who I feel, the greatest exhibition he could never win.
And who I feel really should have had a feud with Mike Tenay.
Remember what we said Right today's doing contradicting. Here comes Ty just jumps on the springboards at him. Like what the? Like stop it. Stop saying that. Like you're not making it. We're not making it better. You're
You
just
know,
not.
or they bring wrestlers in randomly. Like, where the hell has Maniac been? Or Manic, I mean.
Yeah, Manic. Yeah, they brought Manic back. You know, he came back on when they had that gauntlet match, which Austin Aries won. He came back. And speaking of comeback, Loki, or if for all the TNA purists remember him as Senshi, or when he was in WWE for the short period, Caval, he made a return last night and he beat the Zima Ion, which was very rejoicing. Very rejoicing. What the hell? Yo, what the hell? Hearing outside. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what?
Somebody sneezing. Oh man, that's so weird sneezing. What the hell? What's that? No sneeze. Oh, we finally got our first commenter here. It's Nathan. Hey, Nathan. It's like, yeah, buddy. Hey, Nathan, how's it going? You know, so yeah, you know, and you know, I don't feel there's anything spectacular. I must say, I feel TNA so far has been handling Bobby Lashley as the dominant champion very well. You know, they've been playing to his strengths. They haven't been exposed his weakness. We know Bobby Lashley's not the best mic talker, so you know, so basically he's been picking his spots. You know, whenever to be intimidating, like with him and Austin Aries had a promo this past Impact. You know, then he said, you know, you're making the biggest mistake of your life, and I thought, okay, that's fine. Just have him say that. You know, have him and Aries stare down. All right. Let Aries do all the talking, or let MVP do all the talking. Who got his butt handed to him by Bobby Roode, you know. But and I come to find out that on the Wrestling Fanatics, the John Cena equivalent, the TNA equivalent to John Cena, is Kenny King. I found on Wrestling Fanatics that when Kenny King comes on the scene, they turn the channel. So I'm like, oh shoot, Kenny King is TNA's equivalent to John Cena. Is that he's just like a scrappy, like he's almost like the scrappy dude, like we don't want anything to do with you. And one thing me and Chris knows about Kenny King, he sweats like for no apparent, like he'll be not talking, he'll be backstage, beads of sweat. It's like, wait a minute, I think he's been staying around Devon. Maybe been staying around Devon too long. It's like, yo, we know Devon. Hey, Dio, what you doing here? That's why D'Lo Brown's freaking head was getting bigger every week, because it's almost like Devon's head was supplying him, you know, with source, and D'Lo's head was like soil. It's just, could you stop sweating around me? Oh my brother, you gotta testify. And speaking of Devon, who's now back with the company, or made for this short period, Devon, Bubba, and Tommy Dreamer are in some major need of some backup, because they went against EC3, Rockstar Spud, and the sellout Rhino in a New York City street fight. And man, I kid you not, Bubba and them was basically dominating the whole thing. And out of nowhere, here comes this hooded figure. What's wrong? And then here comes this hooded figure out in the crowd. And Bully, I guess, recognized this person right off the bat and just started slugging him. Then comes this second hooded figure, you could tell was black. And, you know, He takes care of Tommy Dreamer, and sure enough, we will find out who is the black hooded figure. It was Ezekiel Jackson. So Ezekiel Jackson is now part of TNA. So then that left one answer. Who was the second hooded figure that Bully was laying waste to? Sure enough, Steve, it was Snitsky. So Mr. It wasn't my fault. Mr. I like to kick babies is now in TNA.
So basically, they got all the talent that WWE formerly had.
Once again, when TNA gets somebody that either WWE maybe they didn't really do anything with, or maybe started something and then just dropped, that's when people start, okay, oh, they got another WWE reject. It's never called a WWE reject when somebody is of, known value and they just come like when Booker T come. I wasn't hearing people calling Booker T a WWE reject. But it's only like I think when Daivari went over, they was calling him a WWE reject. So yeah, you got Ezekiel Jackson, who me and Chris kept hearing was still part of the company for the longest. Now, guess not. He's now in TNA. Oh, and apparently, Dixie Carr brought back King Mo. I don't know why do they keep bringing King Mo back on TNA programming. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do it. So now he's made a heel turn. And how we can say he made a heel turn because I guess he's now Dixie Carter's bodyguard. And he didn't do anything. All he did was just try to intimidate JB. So I don't understand why TNA keeps King Mo on their contract or they keep bringing him back. He didn't do anything the first time when they brought him back to enforce the Bobby Roode, James Storm Bound for Glory match. He didn't do anything on his second arrival, and he didn't do anything now, except for look awkward. Also, Matt Hardy made his TNA return because, as you know, or if you don't know, the Hardy Boys are going to face the American Wolves, or the Wolves, for the tag titles. Now TNA's short supply of tag teams, it can be justified that, oh, the Hardys reunite and off the bat they get a title match. I guess you can justify it because the Wolves have already faced, I guess, all the competition in the tag team division. But once again, it's one kid. Oh, so, a veteran comes in, they already handed a title match. But, so the Hardys versus the Wolves. Sounds interesting on paper. Matt Hardy looks to be in pretty good shape. Even Taz said it. So, hopefully, Destination X. I thought it was going to be like some tag team ladder match, to play to, the Wolves maybe saying, we want to beat you guys at a match you guys made famous, ladder match, but it looks like it's going to be a regular tag team match. So, to past Impact, we've had the Hardys reunite, Sonata turn heel, and I'm not so sure about that. I was liking Sonata, as a face. Now he's a heel turning on his master and going and siding with Cowboy James Storm. No. But it was at least good to see Robbie get the mist sprayed in his mouth more than his face by Great Muta. Also, Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell, they try to reignite their rivalry only for the Beautiful People, which I expected the Beautiful People to get involved and to have the match be thrown out. But, and so in all scenarios, option C. So at Destiny, it's going to be Austin versus Bobby Lashley for the TNA World Championship. Can Austin Aries make option C be another success? Because when he did the first time it was a success, and when Chris Sabin did it last year against Bully Ray, it was a success. Can Austin Aries do it one more time? Can he make option C a successful, stipulation? Or will Bobby Lashley's domination be too much to handle?
And will MVP struggle not to get that gut again?
Yeah, who tapped out to a sharpshooter. I'm not going to lie, that sharpshooter looked pretty bad by Bobby Roode. I don't know if that was necessarily his fault, just MVP just didn't know how to turn around. But, among other things in wrestling.
And also, will we see that member of the Highlanders again in the crowd?
Oh yeah, I'll never forget that. One of the Highlanders, man, they had the camera spotlight right on. He tried to duck it like, oh shoot. It's like, yeah. It's like, what are you doing there, man? What are you doing there?
And what I think I find funny is that, you're on your day off, you're going to a match on our competition, which to me, I don't feel should be up to like a disciplinary action deal. I say if they purposely took the day off to go and do that, that's fine. But I think I also kind of understand why it's a reprimanding deal because maybe they're trying to do some back dealing stuff.
Yeah,
that was the problem. Which that was the problem with TNA and Hogan when Hogan signed that deal with 2K for like the WWE games. Yeah, I mean, I understand the politics of all that, but I don't think that some of that stuff you should kind of give leeway to some of it.
No, it's just like how when, they maybe get a little bit paranoid thinking, oh wait, they're going over to so and so. They maybe could be talking about a deal or so, So, hey, what the hell was you doing there? Besides, spectating. Were you negotiating a contract? Were you talking with the man over there? Were you like, got my face? Well, stop it. But let me tell you something.
And of course, the internet is kind of all blown up with fellow Chicagoans because now apparently CM Punk, in a very sarcastic way, has said, "I will never ever come back to WWE." And somebody on Wrestling Fanatics on Facebook made the comment. They're like, "Yeah, WWE is thinking about pursuing legal action against Punk."
Yeah, I actually saw a thumbnail about it was an article about it. I didn't look into it, but I saw the title. I'm like, where they find a lawsuit for him? Why they find a lawsuit on him for? What are they doing? But speaking of CM Punk, his best friend, ex-girlfriend Natalie, made an article saying about how he's been suffering. Well, she said he's been the victim of retirement. Basically, CM Punk has been being stalked by his fans. Found out that supposedly that people were basically camping out in his front yard, just waiting for him to come out. A mother and a kid slid, I guess, Easter, eggs or whatever, under his front door or through his mailbox, and it's like, yo, what the hell?
Yeah, like what is wrong with people? It's just like that mother talking about killing John Cena over in Saudi Arabia. It's like you gotta wonder what's going on with people.
It's like, so basically all what CM Punk was saying, when he cut that work shoe, he talking about, how you got those fans out there that that wait for me, to come out of the airport just for they can get my autograph that sell it on eBay. Basically what he was stating was the truth. He got some fans that are really, stalking him. And his girlfriend, I said that, he feels that he might get, that he has fears of maybe getting stabbed or so. But doesn't want a bodyguard or anything, and it's like, oh shoot.
Given, Punk's background and fighting style, I imagine why Punk would want a bodyguard. Because A, it'll draw more attention to him, and B, Punk can handle himself. I mean, he's got like Taekwondo or Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu background.
Yeah, he's got Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. So, yeah, I don't, but he should be able to handle himself, but yeah, you gotta watch these stalkers, case in point.
And I look at this and it's like, as wrestling fans, yeah, you, me, Chris, and a lot of other people are passionate, but at the same time, they are, and it's the same with celebrities, and it's a cliched phrase, but it's true. They're people too. They got other things that they want to do. They want to eat in peace. You can't be doing that. You can't be camping out in their front yard.
I think it was Jared that said it. When he sees wrestling fans, when he sees that these fans really let what goes on in wrestling, what goes on in WWE program, really affect their personal lives and stuff, it's just very bad. It's like I never let what happened, like for instance when Brian got put with the Wyatt family. I wasn't like, man, this makes me so mad, it makes me so mad that I'm not gonna do this and stuff. It's like Jared said, he really feels that some of these wrestling fans care more about wrestling than their actual lives. Their actual jobs, sometimes their life activities, and it's like, oh my gosh. But I want to talk about something that I actually am liking about wrestling. And man, it still surprised me to this day that I'm even saying this, or it's even happening. But I am digging every moment of Dean Ambrose's face run. My God.
I have to admit, I had to laugh at this because it's like you and I are now saying Ambrose is more of a loose cannon than Pillman was back in the Attitude Era.
Yes, and my friend Nate went on to go say that if he keeps it up, he might go on from being Pillman to some sort of Stone Cold-esque like thing. And I'm like, man, he could. He could be a different version, but it's no question. Ambrose is hot. I mean, the crowd.
Then again, so is Reigns.
My friend Nate, we even argued that he was even said, I think Ambrose is getting more hotter than Reigns. And I'm like, you know what? That makes a compelling discussion, because I can't really say no or yes to that, because Ambrose. But I did agree one thing, because he did say it's like, hey, right now Ambrose got the more compelling hotter feud. I'm like, yeah, he does. Because if Reigns supposed to be feuding with Randy Orton right now, I'm not gonna lie, it's not that hot and compelling than Ambrose and Rollins. When that article came out, I believe that Rollins and Ambrose could be the feud of the summer. I actually agreed with it right off the bat before anything took place, and it's living up to that. This could be the feud. This living up to be the feud of the summer, because people really want. It's back to the old school route. People want to see Ambrose get his hands on Rollins. They really want to see it. Every time he attacks him, the crowd goes crazy. They are loving it, especially at Battleground.
And honestly, that's what wrestling needs to go back to, I think, a little bit, is these old school rivalries that actually, they're not just one and done like a lot of John Cena's opponents. Nah, you want a feud that lasts a long, long while, or a feud that is long lasting. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. For example, like Savage and Flair back, in the old 80s WWF days. You had Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior. It's like these rivalries that really transcended over time.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
had.
they became immortalized, rivalries. Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon, Stone Cold and Triple H, The Rock and Triple H.
See, the thing is, and because you bring Macho Man Ric Flair, that started in I think 1992, 1992, I think. Yeah, 1992, because they wrestled at WrestleMania 8. Um, they didn't really have series of matches. It just built it up to one big blow-off match. And see, that's kind of the problem of with the overexposing of pay-per-views. Now some of these feuds, instead of, like Jared would say, instead of building up to this one, because it's not like you can't have. It's not like I think people, and growing up, used to always see. So I always thought that was the formula of a feud. A feud has to
To
be.
me, and it's one of the few things with Cena that I can honestly say could have went somewhere was him and Bray Wyatt still. I was actually liking where that storyline was going there for a while. Because, you started to kind of see Cena crack a little bit. And I was like, I'm starting to actually enjoy this because it's starting to feel worthwhile. It's like the series of matches that Bray and John have are actually meaning something. That's why I liked at WrestleMania. The theme song for their match was Legacy.
Yeah, it actually had consequences. But what I was saying that, growing up, I always thought, okay, a formula for a feud, it has to be wrestler A beats wrestler 1, then the next match, wrestler B beats wrestler A, before they can set up a rubber match. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. That kind of makes things very too predictable. Because then and sure enough, because now people predict, because wrestler A won at Extreme Rules, if they have a rematch, we all know that they're going to lose the next match. And that's why Jared said, he kind of wished that it kind of goes back to where you could, just with good booking, you can just just build up all the way to one blow-off match. And that's why I bring up Macho Man and Ric Flair. When it built to WrestleMania, it wasn't no Macho Man versus Ric Flair at Royal Rumble, and Macho Man lost or so he had to build his way back up to. No, it just built up, all the whole thing with Elizabeth just built up to one big blow-off match at Mania. And the fans ate it up. Same thing with now you got some cases where if the story is, can so and so beat so and so, yeah, there's the chase. But nowadays, you got the 50-50 booking where wrestler A beats wrestler B, so wrestler B has to beat wrestler A in the next match. And then people are like, wait a minute. So if Kofi Kingston beat Miz on a Raw, Miz has to beat Kofi Kingston on SmackDown. And speaking of Miz, who is now the Intercontinental Champion again,
which I think is a terrible decision.
I'm not all for that myself.
It once again, this is another problem that's actually happening as well in WWE, and I'm not liking it. Is the movie star gets an instant title shot? Now, okay, in the case of, say, Batista, it made kind of partial sense because Batista, he did make a valuable point. He goes, anybody that's offered a title shot is an idiot to turn it down. He goes, but at the same time, he goes, I'm not like The Rock. I'm not like anybody else. I'm not going to just go off and do my next movie. If I'm offered a role, I'm offered a role. He goes, but, I want to try to do this thing, as much as I can. The only reason that he got off TV, of course, was to promote Guardians, but he said, once the promotion and stuff like that's over, and if I'm not needed for anything else, he goes, I'm coming right back.
Yeah, the only problem was that when he came back, it was during the height of the Yes movement.
And it's funny because Dave even admitted that himself. But yeah, it's just the movie star is now going to get like the title shot and they're going to win the title and this and that and
I don't even think it has anything to do with Miz being a movie star, because if that was the case, he would have won.
I'm just saying it's this trend of they go to film a movie or they become famous or they come back after so many years to just like wrestle for like maybe a month or two or like a special event like WrestleMania, and then they just drop the belt and they're gone. It's like that's kind of and as much as I like The Rock, I gotta call it like I see it. Him ending Punk's streak at the Royal Rumble only to lose to John Cena 2 months later at Mania, while I understood the booking choice of that, to me it was also kind of dumb. Because you brought The Rock back just to end CM Punk's streak, his winning streak, and then just drop the belt to Cena in a rematch of the once-in-a-lifetime match that they had.
It didn't necessitate a rematch. I'm sorry, I've said it to this day. That once-in-a-lifetime match was, to me, was not that good that I was clamoring for a rematch. I was just like, okay, it happened.
To me, I felt like that was a very big, slap in the face to, and I use this term very loosely, true wrestling fans. That WWE booked it like that.
It just seemed to me that that W plan was, okay, if Cena, he's got to get his win back. I'm thinking, what's wrong with Cena? What's wrong with Rock being the only person that maybe Cena didn't beat? Does he have to get his win? And that's the case of where I talk about with 50 Bill. Why does it seem like when a person loses, they have to get a win back? They have to get a win back against. It doesn't seem as though it's the natural thing. Like, because this happened, okay, it's like, well, because so and so lost, they have to get their win back. And my friend Nate always said that he wished that WrestleMania 29 was the streak versus the streak. It was Taker versus Punk. Yeah, Taker versus Punk, but for the title, it was Taker's undefeated streak versus Punk's title streak. And I'm like, oh, shoot. You know what? That wasn't that bad.
Plus on top of that, the promo deal with Cena was horrible. Oh, my loss to The Rock affected my life. And it even brought in his real life divorce. Yeah. I'm like, first off.
Yeah, well, that was even worse. Like, he didn't do it. Like, Cena didn't do it, but man, when WWE was advertising and they showed the Bleacher Report article, Cena goes through a divorce. I'm thinking, no, you guys did not just do that. You guys did not just do that. And that's what somebody said. See, that's why the whole redemption thing is too, because he took a loss to The Rock that bad, but they had no problem losing to Kevin Federline of all people. Of all people.
Yeah.
His loss, he just shrugged off a loss to K-Fed. But the loss to The Rock deeply affected, where at first, at the night after WrestleMania, where he quoted, I am a man that will accept defeat. And now so basically just contradicted all of that by now you're saying, no, yeah, that deeply affected me. All my downfalls of that year stemmed from, that loss to The Rock. Oh, it's my redemption. And
first off, John, the kids ain't buying that shit. They're not buying that. That's why I laugh at those John Cena T-shirts. It's like 10 years. Just give up already.
It's like, man.
And then to hear Hulk Hogan forcibly say, "Yeah, my favorite wrestler," I'm like, Hogan, you're making this worse.
It's like I know Hogan. There's been some game where they've shown him and Cena, be cool with each other. Like, I'm not going. I'm not going. Say that. Okay, maybe Hogan and Cena. Maybe I'm not going to say that they're not friends. But how do I know that John Cena is really Hogan's favorite wrestler? But the thing with The Rock. But I'm not gonna lie. Did I pop when Rock won the belt? Yes, I did because it had a nostalgia feel to it. Like, oh shoot, The Rock is WWE champion again. My only problem with it was the aftermath where he was barely on Raw, and when he was on Raw, he didn't really wrestle. He just cut a promo and then it once again brought up the argument of the 30-day rule, especially during the Beltmania, which was from February to April. It was almost like, wait a minute, what happened to that 30-day rule? The Rock is not even here to defend his belt, and he's from February to April. What happened to that? And it's a good thing I bring that up because that's why if WWE is really considering um, having if Brock Lesnar to beat John Cena, I'm just saying, I
Oh
think.
God, don't remind me of that. I saw like an F-up article on WWE's part, or at least they say cards subject to change, but they were saying, yeah, on September 8th, the night after the third and final night at the Baltimore Comic-Con. That's in September. They are saying that, yeah, September 8th, the last Raw that's going to be in Baltimore. They had, oh yeah, WWE World Heavyweight Champion John Cena and Roman Reigns taking on like the Wyatt family or something, and I'm like, now wait a minute, WWE. Are you basically spoiling that at SummerSlam he's gonna beat Brock Lesnar?
Yeah, it could be called subject to change because I remember for Night of Champions 2009 on the cover they had Edge on the poster, and then he lost his belt to Jeff Hardy, and then Jeff Hardy was going to lose the belt to CM Punk, and so then the poster changed to CM Punk on the logo. I mean on the poster. So but I'm just saying, I think having Brock Lesnar champion is a bigger thing, a bigger negative than having Rock because with Brock Lesnar, we never know when he's coming back until we get the signs. Paul Heyman is, giving signs that he's coming back, but he'll be gone for 2 months, and if not 3, 4 before.
No. See, the biggest sign that we know that Lesnar's coming is when you got, Paul Heyman talking about the streak.
Well, he was talking about the streak all this time, but yeah, most time when he, you know, he's alluding to I got another plan or something, or I took a trip. That's most time okay, Lesnar's coming back. But if he's WWE champion, can you just imagine? Yeah, after winning the belt SummerSlam, he's maybe gonna be on the Raw after, but then you might not see him, for like a week or 2 weeks.
Because Kurt Angle was supposed to be my friend.
Oh yeah, he turned heel in 2003. Yeah, Kurt Angle stopped being my friend when he took the WWE champs like Brock.
And then let's not forget when he was part of the UFC and losing until finally they gave him the heavyweight belt. Punched a door once and it just fell straight over. Uh-oh. I think we're having technical difficulties. Aw, shoot. Well, it appears we're having technical difficulties. I think Malcolm is frozen in time, or I am. But let's see. Try to see if I can get in touch. Oh, and it appears that, yeah, Malcolm is frozen in time. Keeping track of everything. See, there we go.
Sorry about that, folks. It was a power surge. It came out of nowhere. Yeah, here's a
and here I thought that I had like frozen and all that kind of stuff, and turns out I was wrong.
Here's a booking decision that I really disagree with, and Chris, you might agree with this. I'm sorry, because there wasn't no follow it. I don't think there was any need to have Cameron beat Naomi. I'm sorry, on the Battleground pre-show. That should have just been Naomi finally, after all these things, in my opinion, should have just been, after all, deal with Cameron BS. She beats her and moves on. They have Cameron. It looked like she had trouble remembering that she was supposed to roll up Naomi. You know, to roll up with a schoolboy. I'm sorry. I really don't see.
But hey, at least her and Alicia Fox can form the Crazy Girls.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm hearing, because I didn't get to see Raw, now apparently Paige has turned heel like everybody dreaded.
What do you mean you sure about that dreaded? I think there were a lot of people now. I think there were a lot of people when they saw that WWE was barely doing anything with her as a face, they was clamoring that maybe her being heel will lead.
Well, I love what somebody put on Wrestling Fanatics once, which is, you know, if they're doing the role reversal where now AJ's the face and she's the heel, it's like that's kind of just gonna end up being bad booking, because now they're just reversing the roles for the title.
I can't really agree with that, because look what happened with Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. They reversed the roles, and they just made for better, a better program. You know, because okay, now Kurt Angle's the good guy, and Brock's the bad, and it was believable too, because you're looking, okay, Kurt Angle is, yeah, he's the Olympic gold medalist and everything, but compared to Brock, he's still kind of the smaller guy. So You never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if it's actually going to lead to Paige becoming the anti-diva like she was on NXT before moving up, hey, might turn out to be something good. Because I think it came to a point where some fans
And
would.
speaking of divas, because I gotta bring this up because this is now just getting embarrassing. What are Layla and Summer supposed to be with this whole Fandango love triangle thing that they're trying to, give everybody? Like, are they now with Adam Rose? Or are they now, like, gonna form their own version of PMS? Like, what the hell are they doing with these
That's
two?
what Chris brought PMS. It seems like, yeah, they're with whoever Fandango's gonna have a match with. Like they was with Zack Ryder, I think Monday.
Which was surprising, and I love Mick Foley's post. He goes, Zack Ryder won a match
Exactly.
on Raw?
And it wasn't like, Cole and them, didn't acknowledge it. They made it like a big, like, oh shoot, he won a match on Raw.
I bet the crowd erupted too.
I think it was a pretty decent response. But me and Chris, we saw the Paige turn coming. We thought it was gonna happen at that Money in the Bank. That did him, but man, AJ not afraid to take bumps. Her body be flailing. AJ is pretty small, so she gets tall and hits that barricade. It's like when Ray got thrown by Batista. It's just boom, and it's like, oh damn, you really feel for AJ, like shoot. So you never know. See, if WWE, if they really put like really, consideration to it, you never know. It might lead to some, I don't know, no disqualification match between them. No, they're really let loose.
That's one thing with the women's wrestling, especially in WWE, that I wish that they would do that TNA has no problem doing. Like no disqualification matches, first blood matches. But then you got all the soccer moms like, these are women. They shouldn't be in those kinds of matches. And I look at that and I'm like, then obviously you never looked at, frickin' the Ice Queen, Paul Burchill's, storyline sister, and Beth Phoenix's ladder match.
Yeah, the Katie Lee Beth Phoenix ladder match in OVW. And if you have the ladder match 2 DVD you can watch. Yeah, you never seen not see with the whole first blood thing. Once again, it's just like any gimmick match. It's gotta work within the context of the feud. If you just have after throwing milk in somebody's face, I want you in a first blood match. I just threw milk in your face. What does that got to do with blood? You messed up. I'm lactose intolerant, fool. You messed up my blood. Okay. That's like having a first blood match. Oh wait, no, that happened. Hogan and Ric Flair had a first blood steel cage match, but the match ended with I think Hogan pinning Flair, or Ric Flair pinning Hogan. How does a first blood match end with a pinfall?
No, even worse. No, the even worse part, Malcolm. It's like you get a first blood match from like somebody cutting a promo and they accidentally shoot ketchup on the person's face.
Like, and you went for a ketchup on face? Now you're first blood match. You want to see real red? I'll show you real red. Oh no! It's like the power of tomato. the power.
Yeah,
of
speaking of which, I gotta say, okay, Tamina's supposed to be her bodyguard. Where the hell was she at?
Where's Tamina? Period. Ever since Tamina had those couple matches with Paige, I haven't seen her. And it makes one. Is she injured? I mean, I think the last time I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
seeing.
and it makes you wonder. Because I'm like, wow, Tamina for once actually is starting to look impressive. And I'm like, she's starting to look feminine too.
Yeah, you know,
And
yeah,
then you got people on Wrestling Fanatics actually going. It's like it's like, what the hell do you mean she's just starting to look feminine? And the only response I could give quickly was Oprah.
wait a minute, Steve, you actually comment on wrestling fanatics?
I think I did. I don't know.
Yeah,
In my young age, I'm starting to get dementia.
but yeah, I'm wondering too where um where Tamina is because Tamina was still there with AJ when Paige cashed, challenged her. It wasn't like Tamina, just left AJ high and dry for Paige to pick up the scrap. No. Tamina actually watched the match, actually consoled AJ when AJ lost. So,
Ow.
and she was still wearing AJ's shirt, that skeleton like shirt, after AJ was gone. So, but I guess it's like in wrestling. What's the unwritten rule? Oh, yeah, the 3-month rule. If it happened 3 months, it never happened.
Hmm.
But
At least she's not coming out with an Umaga type gimmick and hitting people with the foot in your mouth.
hey, man, Tamina got a nice savate kick, big time, just like the Usos. No, the Usos is more of a super kick. And speaking of the Usos, man, I'm loving that they're becoming the focal point of tag team division because tag team division needs it right now. I know there's gonna be some fans that maybe upset that that Luke and Roy and Rowan, they didn't win at Battleground, but WWE really needs the Usos to be the focal point. They need a focal point, a legit tag that's going to stick around and not after they lose the belts, they just go on their separate ways. But that's what it was at a certain point. It was, for instance, Jericho. Yeah, I actually enjoyed. A lot of people enjoyed Jericho, or should I say, Vegeta and Nappa. Because that's what I always saw them as. This is just Vegeta and Nappa version. This is just WWE's version of Vegeta. And then finally, I saw when I was listening to the Jericho theme comment, Vegeta and Nappa, like I'm like, thank you. I knew I was not the only one that saw the comparison of Vegeta and Nappa. Now, at one point, there was really no focal tag team. For instance, it looked like it was going to be the case when Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne went Air Boom. It looked like they were building them up as to be like the focal point of the tag team. And then Evan Bourne slipped up multiple times, and then that was dissolved. Then it looked like they had a focal point with Team Hell No, but we kind of all saw we kind of all knew that once they lost the belt, it was going to be over. And sure enough, once they did, it was over. And then, okay, the Shield, but the Shield, yeah, that was a good catalyst. Then came the Brotherhood, Cody Rhodes and Dustin had a good run. And the New Age Outlaws, that didn't feel like, okay, yeah, they now, but now with the Usos, you really get the feeling that yes, they are here to stay. So whenever they lose the belt, you can believe that they're going to be back again in the title hunt. So, for fans that may be upset, that Luke and Roy, I keep saying Luke and Roy, Luke and Rowan lost at Battleground. They lost again. I think it was for a good cause because the Usos have really cemented their status as the focal point and the team to build the division around. You need somebody or some sort of you need something to build around. Case in point, let's take the New England Patriots. Who do they build around? They build a team around Tom Brady. You know, so oh man, but that match was great. That 2 out of 3 falls, and me and Chris only saw really the third fall. You know, we missed the first fall, and we only saw like the ending of the second fall. But yeah, man. My friend Nate predicts this. I think it's a good way to end the show with a prediction. Believe it or not, he predicts, and I quote him. He predicts for Ambrose to beat Rollins for the briefcase and then cash it in on Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. That is a big prediction. I even had to say, whoa. That's a real big prediction. Ambrose to beat Rollins for. I do agree with my friend. I don't see it makes a lot of sense to have Rollins cash it in on Lesnar. I really don't. I think it'd be pretty cool that a face cashes in on a heel and does not lead to a eventual heel turn. But man, and so that's his prediction for Ambrose to beat Rollins for the briefcase and then cash it on Brock Lesnar. Man, if that happens, I'm gonna tip my hat to Nate and say, man, you predicted the future, man. You predicted the future, man. You predicted the future. You know, that bad. Can you imagine the pop when Ambrose's music hit? I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get into Ambrose's theme, which now got a remix already. I knew it wasn't gonna take long for it to get a remix. I guess they feel that it suits them, and it does that. You know, did it in there, it suits him. I think it's better than Rollins' theme, because, you know, Steve immediately said Rollins with his generic theme.
Yeah, and as Chris likes to say, his Colossus, like, you know, leather outfit.
Like Colossus from X3. You know, but yeah, man. So that's about does it for this episode of the Steve and Malcolm Show. You know, if you ever catch a brother coming to you saying, you know, black on black pride, best sure to stay away from that person. That's sure. And also, if you see somebody clutching onto their fries when they're supposed to be escorted, please smack those fries out of their hands, even if the salt's going to get in their eyes. You just got to let them know. You got to let go of the fries. You just got to let go of the fries. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. And with that, we're going to go. For Steve, this is Malcolm. This was the Steve and Malcolm Show, episode 6. We'll catch you again for the August edition. Stay frosty.